Hi guys, so what I'm going to talk to you about today in this quick tutorial is I'm going to show you how eyelash extensions are measured, because a lot of people know about eyelash extensions and they think that actually we measure eyelash extensions in weight, and we don't. We measure them in thickness, and this is why we can safely use eyelash extensions in advanced techniques, and we can actually use multiple ones, so we can double them up, triple them up. Even on the super advanced techniques like Russian volume, we can use up to 6 onto 1 natural lash head. So I'm going to show you why it is that we can do this, and something that is normally misunderstood by a lot of people because they're thinking that their lashes are actually measured in weight and not thickness. So I want to show you with some charts and diagrams and visual guides how we actually measure our eyelash extensions, and it's going to really help you understand in the future how it is that we are using multiple extensions. And unfortunately a lot of this actually gets bypassed on your initial training, which is so very important. So I'm just going to show you now how we do it. So when people talk about eyelash extensions, you'll normally hear a thickness such as 0.15, 0.12, 0.10, 0.07, etc. And people tend to get very confused thinking that this is the weight of the eyelash extension. So they think that it's been put on some minuscule scales and that's how much it weighs. That is actually incorrect. What it is the thickness of the lash. It is the diameter of the lash. So if you were to put that lash under a microscope, firstly, it's going to look like a cone shape. So I want you to imagine an ice cream cone with no ice cream in it, just the cone. That is what the shape of an eyelash extension is. It is a cone. It's like a cylinder with a tapered end. And what they do is they measure the diameter of it. So from one side to the other, obviously it's such a tiny measurement. It's 0.07, 0.01, 0.12, 0.15. It is so very tiny, but that's how we measure our eyelash extensions. But like I said, unfortunately a lot of people get this mixed up with weight, and it is completely different. So now I'm going to draw you an example to show you exactly what we're talking about. So what we're going to have is our normal eyelash extension. Excuse my drawing, but it is like a cylinder shape with a tapered end. And then they measure the distance from here to here, and let's say for example that would be 0.15, which a lot of us are really familiar with. And again, it would actually be the same across here. It would be 0.15 because it's a circle, so it's going to be the same across all of here. And then we measure our lash in length. So again, let us imagine this is an 11 millimeters. So it's 11 millimeters long by 0.15 of a millimeter thin or thick, or however you want to call it. Now the problem that we have is people think that if you add a 0.15 and a 0.15 together, you're going to get 0.3 in weight. This is incorrect. You are only going to get 0.3 in thickness. For example, if I then put another 0.15 there, put it next to that one, had 0.15, it would be 0.3 thick. That's it. Now let's move down to thinner lashes, because this is where it gets complicated. Now a lot of you have probably heard that you can actually, on some clients, use two 0.1s together. And people are going to be thinking, yeah, but two 0.1s is going to equal 0.2. Because a lot of people say, well actually, if you've got a client that could safely support a classic 0.15 lash, they can actually hold times two 0.1s. That's what they say. And they go, well, how can they? Because really, a 0.1 plus a 0.1 equals 0.2. So how can they hold it? And the reason being because they're getting this measurement mixed up with weight. It is not, it is thickness only. And this is what we have to remember. Now I'm going to draw a 0.2 lash. There he is, he goes up there. Now a lot of us don't use these anymore because we've figured out over the years that they are too thick, too heavy for most clients to support, because our typical client that comes in isn't usually a client that's got good natural lashes. She or he is usually a client that's got very poor, weak natural lashes. So years ago, we were putting 0.2, 0.25s on everybody thinking it was fine, and we were causing so much damage, and no wonder our industry has got a bad name, because we still got technicians out there doing it now that took training years ago or recently, and are either trained badly or have not kept up to date. So very, very rarely do we use a 0.2 anymore. We tend to be using this 0.15 on the healthiest natural lash that we see. But, for example, let's imagine that this lash here, and I'm going to draw some lines, he would be a 0.2 thick. So he's a naughty one. I call him naughty. Now we could actually, if we were to hollow this out, I want you to imagine this is your ice cream cone with your little bit across there. If we were to scoop out, well actually an ice cream cone is actually hollow, so we don't really need to scoop it out. But let's imagine that we've scooped it out. So this is 0.2 thickness. Imagine that we wanted to put two 0.1s inside of it. We could, because we could fit, let's just mark the middle, we could fit a 0.1 in here, and we could fit a 0.1 in here, so let's draw across. 0.1, 0.1, and there we go. 0.1 plus 0.1 is going to equal 0.2 in diameter only, not in weight. And the reason being, look at all of this space that we've got here. So if we were to slide these two inside of this eyelash extension that we'd hollowed out, we've still got all of this volumetric weight here that is still existing. We haven't filled it. Now let's imagine that I've got a 0.1 floating around here somewhere. It's a little 0.1. If I was to cut him in half with a pair of scissors, that is my terrible attempt at a pair of scissors, if we were to snip him in half, I could technically lift this half, this little half here, and fit it there. And then I could lift this half and fit it up here. Yet I've still got weight left over. So technically, a natural lash that could happily support a 0.2 extension, and there are the odd few clients out there, could technically support three 0.1s because we've cut this one in half. So it could actually support three and be absolutely fine and still have a little bit of weight left over. Does that make sense to you guys? I'm really hoping it does, because actually this is so overcomplicated or not taught correctly. So I'm going to give you another example. So for this example, we're going to draw a 0.15. 0.15. And actually, in a 0.15, I want to show you how many 0.05s, which we tend to use for volume. So when we do little volume fans, we create our little fans like that and we put them on to one little natural lash. How many we could fit in here? Zero 0.05, 0.05, 0.05, because add them together, they are going to equal the thickness of 0.15, because 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals 15, so we get the thickness, as you can see, but we've still got some space left over. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 7, 0.05 inside of a 0.15. So if you had a client that could support a 0.15 classic lash, you know that technically she could support 7 0.05s, because that's how many we can slide up inside of there. So I'm now hoping with this very quick guide, before you start to glaze over, because probably most of you are not overly mathematical, we tend to be more visual as lash technicians, so we try to keep this very simple. But I'm hoping now you're going to realise that lashes are not measured in weight. They are measured in thickness only. Never ever confuse the two, because also the longer an eyelash extension is, the more he weighs. So if you've got a 0.15 in 7mm, he is not going to weigh as much as a 0.15 in 14mm, which would be double the length, therefore double the weight.